Hey there, it's Lauren. Thank you so much for being here. For this video, I'm gonna be sharing all of my glowy, like bronze, summer, sun-kissed skin makeup favorites. Basically just like bronzy glowy skin favorites is the short and condensed version of that title. I have quite a lot I want to share. Some of these are newer items that I've sort of worked into the fold over the last couple of months, and then other ones are like tried and true favorites that I've had for a really long time. This has been like my go-to kind of sort of style of base lately, you know, different variations depending on trying things out, but really into like glowy, bronzy, dewy skin, you know, kind of leaning towards that glass skin trend, but just super glowy, super warm toned, even though it's very gray out right now. We got the LA May gray. Anyways, hopping into this because I have quite a lot I want to share. I'm going to start with a few bases that I really like for this type of look. The first one is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Youth Boosting Perfect Skin Foundation. This is like a classic. People talk about this all the time, and for good reason. You know, it is a luxury priced item, but I love the finish it gives on the skin. It's like a light, kind of medium, but just mainly just like a light coverage, you know, a step up above a tinted moisturizer, but it is super glowy. There's actually quite a number of Charlotte Tilbury products in here because Charlotte Tilbury just does like bronzy glow super well, and this is just like a really great base to start off of. I tried this a few years back and didn't care for it. I got a sample, and then about a year or so I picked it up again because my tastes have changed quite a bit, and now this is just awesome. Really beautiful, very luminous, and it's a rather thin sort of consistency, so it really lends itself to blend well with other products, like if you want to mix in, which I'm going to get to those. I have a lot of like mixers for creating glowy bases. The other one, this is the newest one. This is the Lancome Skin Feels Good. This actually has moringa in it as well, so really very like dewy and hydrating. It has hyaluronic acid, so as it says, you know, it has skin in the name. It's very skin-like. At first, I thought it was really similar to the It Cosmetics CC cream, but I feel like this looks more skin-like, I feel like, than the It Cosmetics CC cream, which can actually be quite easily very heavy. This is a light to medium coverage. You know, I find that most glowier foundations are in that sort of style. It has kind of a whipped like texture. This one pulls a little bit like yellowy orange on me, but because I've been mixing it so much with illuminators, it works. I really love the coverage that this creates, so it's super beautiful. So this is technically a foundation. It is the Hylamide Photography Foundation in Golden Tan. This is like a tint, very similar in consistency to the Glossier Skin Tint, but this is a very bronzed, shimmery liquid. It supposedly is like one of those things that you can put on and it makes your skin look perfect in photos. Can't really tell either way, but I like it for mixing because it actually is quite on a glowy bronzer side. So mixing this in with foundation or before foundation really creates like a really beautiful glow. And then on that sort of like mixing in sort of side of things, this product is fantastic for that. This is the Dr. Hauschka Translucent Bronzing Tint. You can sheer it out and it can just be like a tint of bronze, or you can use like a full pump, mix it in with your foundation and warm it up, or just use it as a bronzer. I like using it in all ways. Lately, I've been into using it more just like after I've done my foundation and then using it as like a cream bronzer, and it really warms up the skin. A little bit on the pricier side, but totally worth the hype that it's been getting lately. And you get like so much product in here that it'll last for a really long time. These are 3 different like liquid highlighters that I really love for creating a very glowy sort of illuminated face. All 3 of these work really well to mix in. The 1/1 Base Glow has a lot of like a high percentage of natural ingredients. It works well as like a tint or as a mixer, or just as like a really nice natural looking highlighter that you can kind of build up if you want. It's definitely on like a bronzy side. And then the Marc Jacobs Dewdrops can easily be very, very intense. This is the one that was, I think, came out last year. It was supposedly was limited edition, but I think it's permanent. And they have a newer version as well. This is another one of those products that I will have forever. I've had it for over a year and I've hardly made a dent in it. This stuff can be really, really intense if you let it be. So just like the littlest bit. I actually really like mixing this in with moisturizer to like glow up my arms and things like that, because there's more, I think, product in here than I could reasonably go through before it goes off. So I've been using it for that. And then the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This is supposed to be like a multi-purpose product. You can use it as a sort of skin blurring, like skin tint kind of thing, like as almost a foundation. It's supposed to have like all this different blurring technology to really make your skin look really like perfected. And it does, but I like more coverage than that. So it works well as like a illuminating primer, as a mixer, and just as like a straight up highlighter. So I like using it as a highlighter, and then if I want to take things up like a crazy notch, I'll actually take like a lot of it with the doe foot applicator and dot it all over the face in tiny amounts, and then blend it in after I've done all of my makeup, like bronzer, blush, everything. And it almost gives like, definitely very glowy, but it's like a cream finishing powder, kind of like how the Hourglass powders are like a finishing powder to give that airbrushed quality. This can do that, and it's like a really quick shortcut to that like illuminated glass skin look. If you're not careful, it can be like super overly dewy, but yeah, can really easily be like a quick means to an end to get the whole glass skin trend. And then I have a few just sort of straight up bronzers and highlighters that really work to give like a glow. Usually I lean towards more of like a silver or even like a pale pink highlighter, but lately I've been leaning more towards that golden sort of glow, which those different highlighters that I just showed present. But also I've been really into the Glossier Haloscope highlighter in Topaz. This is a really, really beautiful, like almost like it's more like a bronzer, like a glimmery, hydrating, super dewy bronzer. I think the center of it is like a mix of castor oil, so it's supposed to be very hydrating. Definitely gives a very like wet, dewy kind of look. So if you don't like that feel, this wouldn't be a product for you. But I really like the look that it creates, and I actually really like draping it into the eyelid for like a really easy eye, where I'll just like take it from the cheek, drape it in, and then like maybe smudge with a brown sort of eye pencil or something like that to create like a really quick, beautiful, no makeup, glowy eye look. And then although this isn't a like glowy kind of highlighter, this is the YSL Touche Eclat Radiant Touch. This thing I've heard people refer to as like a concealer. Some people refer to it as a highlighter. I definitely like using it like a matte, like a non-glimmery highlighter. So I'll use it on my nose, a little bit on the forehead, and on the under eye area. And although it's not like, you know, like a bronzy sort of color that I'm showing, it really helps create like nice, vibrant awakeness that I find is really necessary when I'm doing like a bronzy look, to have like a couple areas that are just sort of more like awake looking. So this really helps kind of reinforce in a way that sort of look by having that in the fold. And then I have a lot of bronzers that I want to share. The majority of them are cream bronzers, which has been more towards what I've been leaning for lately, just cream products in general that you'll see. The first one I'm going to share though is not a cream. This is the Lilah B bronzer. This is the Sunkissed bronzer. It has like two different tones, and it's kind of like a golden glowy sort of look. It sinks in and like lays on the skin really well. It doesn't look overly powdery. I kind of compare it to like the Becca bronzers. I have the Capri Coast one, but that busted on me, but this one is super beautiful. It has a bit of like a shimmer to it, so it really helps create like and reinforce that luminous luminousness that I've been reaching for. And then I have 4 different cream bronzers I'm gonna share with you. The first one is a newer guy. This is actually considered a contour stick. It's a cream bronzer contour stick from Wet n Wild that I recently got. So I've used it probably half a dozen times, but I've really liked the results. I find it blends really well. This color I got in Wears Walnut. They have a few different colors, so there hopefully will be something for a lot of different people, but it is not cool toned enough for me to be like a full-on contour, but I like the way it blends out. Really nice, really warm, seems to last pretty well. And then also supposedly like a contour, this is the Hollywood contour wand from Charlotte Tilbury. Definitely not as cool toned as I'm used to for contouring, but I do still like it for that. I find that I can create like a nice shape in here, but it is warm enough, and the cream sort of quality of it really keeps the skin very like alive looking. This can though be a little bit tricky to blend out, so it takes some extra time to work in, but I find that it looks super natural, like very natural, and I like the effect of it. And then these two guys are actually quite similar. This is the Chanel cream bronzer. It's, you know, cult classic, really expensive but very beautiful cream bronzer. Can be a little bit sort of like orangey yellow on me sometimes, so I have to be careful with like not having too heavy of a hand and making sure I really blend it out. But although this is super beautiful, I realized I had this from e.l.f. It's actually a duo. It's like this weird pudgy cream, so there's a bronzer and there's a blush, and color wise it's pretty similar, but I feel like the blending out and the sort of similar sort of consistency is there between these guys. So the 1/1 duotones are actually a really great like face cream option for like that luminous kind of no makeup but like luminous makeup look. They have a few different options. These 3 all have the bronzers on them, which are a really pretty like very lightweight shimmery bronzer, and then some have like different blushes and some have highlighters. The blushes on these actually are totally what I've been kind of leaning for when I've been doing this look. This one is like a kind of peachy, almost orange toned poppy shade, and then this is like a kind of like burnt rose. Both of these like sink in really naturally, so it's not going to be too impactful, but you can definitely build it up. So with this kind of base, I also really like to do a kind of bolder, really like sun touched type of cheek, and I have a few that really help create that. These ones are actually kind of like cousins in the effect that they create. These are the CLE melting lip powders, which I know I talk about these all the time, but I just love them and I think they deserve a lot more attention. And then I have the Glossier Cloud Paints. Now, these guys are kind of like similar in a regard. I have Hot Cocoa from CLE and Dusk from Glossier, and this one's a little bit more brown tone and this has a little bit more rose to it, but both kind of really easily lend themselves into looking very bronzed, and I'll place them on my cheek, but I really like to drag it up and across the face and really blend it in with the bronzer, so it kind of all looks like one. And then this is Ultra Summer from CLE, and then this is Beam. This is way more impactful, so if I want like a real like punchy, like I've been out in the sun but it looks good on me kind of cheek, this one helps with that. And then Beam is like a slightly more subtle kind of peachy orange version of that, so they both like sink in really naturally, even though these can be quite vibrant. A little bit tricky, both of them to work with, so you just have to practice. And then lastly, in terms of blush, this is the Laura Geller Baked Blush in Apricot Berry. This is like a swirled blush, so it has like illuminating parts, bronzer parts, and then a very like rose and apricot kind of bright vibrantness in it. So you can just take a light hand and do something light or really build it up. So I am actually wearing this one today. It's been kind of my go-to blush lately. And then lastly, I wanted to mention the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a Palette Beauty Glow. I got this like over a year ago, and I thought it was limited edition, but it's still on a lot of different websites. So she has different versions of these 5-minute face palettes quite often, but the Beauty Glow one has been around for quite some time. And this is like a really great, quick, glowy look. You have various different shimmery, glowy looking eyeshadows. You have a couple different options in terms of blush, and then a very glowy bronzer and highlighter. So this is also like a, I want to be out the door in a couple of minutes, quick but glowy kind of put together look. You can definitely create that with this palette. So although this is a pricier item, it is definitely like a good investment piece if you can't really think about your makeup in the morning and you just need to like get out the door, or if you travel a lot. It just has all the things that you, well, a lot of the things that you need all in one go, so you don't have to think about it. Okay, that was a lot of product, and I think I ran out of breath while doing that video, but hopefully that was fun. I'd love to know any of your like glowy, bronzy, like sun-kissed skin favorites. I'm definitely on the hunt for a new blush. I definitely want a newer sort of bright, vibrant blush. I've been kind of eyeing some of the liquid ones from NARS. My mouth has stopped working from talking. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see ya in whatever's next. All right, bye.